My name is Sandra Calvert Nathans. I'm from New Jersey. I became affiliated with DMRF after my son was diagnosed in December of 2004. And I participated in fundraising activities in New Jersey. My husband and I currently serve as co-presidents of the New Jersey chapter of Dystonia Medical Research Foundation. And our daughter was also diagnosed in May of 2009.
I became affiliated with the DMRF in 2005. My son was diagnosed in 2003, and his physician was John Menkes, who was the first medical director of the DMRF. So Dr. Menkes had just given us the name of the DMRF as a resource. So we've been involved since then, and the foundation has been just a great resource for us. The lessons I've learned from my son has been really one of adaptability. It's amazing how adaptable he is, and I've seen that with a lot of the other children that have dystonia. I think in a lot of ways the parents have a harder time with the dystonia than the children do, and so adaptability has been a big lesson I've learned from him. Lesson of hope, definitely learned that from him. It's amazing how much a parent can push forward on things when their child is involved and when it's for the good of their child.
The lessons I've learned is, Mark was saying adaptability, my word would be resilience. And I think it's the same concept where, particularly with my son, who would have a terrible day one day and he'd get up the next day and view that day as brand new, clean slate, let's have a great day today. The other thing that I have learned, the lessons I've learned from my two teenagers, is that I've had to learn when to hold on tighter and when to let them go, and allow them to have a say in not only their treatment, but also in their activities, what they can and cannot do, and allow them to take certain risks. Some are successful, some are not. But as a mother, I would like to hold them back and keep them with me at all times, and that's not practical. So that's quite the lesson I've learned.
From my standpoint, the lessons that they've learned from my work with the DMRF and my wife's work with the DMRF, I think has been, one is being an advocate for yourself. I think in many ways, people sometimes don't have this that innate nature to be an advocate, particularly if they've had to rely on other people for certain basic things at some point in their life. So I think being an advocate, when they see their parents advocating for them, or when they see their parents taking a path through an organization that's really, has a big, as one of its missions, being an advocate for people who suffer from dystonia, I think that's really rubbed off on our son, and he's been, he's learned to be more of an advocate for himself. I think another thing that he has learned is, although there has to be a certain acceptance of the way things may be now, there doesn't have to be an acceptance that those things are going to be that way forever. But the only way to change things is really to take action, and to take action in a way that maybe doesn't have a clear path. You definitely know what the result, the desired result is, which is getting rid of dystonia, curing dystonia. Sometimes there's not really a clear path to get there, and you sort of have to feel your way around, and that's, I think that's the way a lot of things are in life. Even though you know the end result, sometimes there's really not a clear path to get there, but you have to move forward anyway and just make adjustments as you go.
I think that my children have learned that that they matter, that their action matters, that every little bit helps. So when my daughter does a bake sale at school and raises $80 for Dystonia Medical Research Foundation, that they're making an impact, and they are improving things for their future. I think the other thing that they've learned is that they are not alone. When we heard the word dystonia in December of 2004. We had no idea never heard of it before. We didn't know anything about it. And coming together like a weekend like this where there's a children and family symposium, and they see that there are so many other children who struggle with the same things, who have the same questions, who are basically on the same road and are traveling a rough road. I just think it makes them feel better, and they're comforted by the fact that they aren't alone. I think that our conversations now with Lydia at 14 and Jack at 16 are different than their peers with their parents. And I think that's simply because of the challenges that they have had to face and what they've had to learn to express, where other kids who don't have these types of challenges have not, it hasn't been required that they express themselves in that way.
I think one thing is that our son David is definitely a more empathetic person towards others because of his dystonia. I think our daughter Rachel, it's been a big learning experience for her. In fact, when I remember speaking with our rabbi when David was first diagnosed, and he said, make sure you also take care of Rachel. I think he knew, as a lot of people, counselors know, that the siblings of children that have a special need are sometimes left out, and they have needs too. I think Rachel has learned a lot from this. We've all learned a lot, but I think Rachel has also become more empathetic, not only towards her brother, but also to any other human being really that has any kind of special need or has anything that's anything out of the mainstream norm about it.
Right. I also think that we take those very positive and really fun times, and they just mean more to us. We laugh harder, we laugh more often, and because you need to. You need that the happiness and the hope and the joy that's always there.
I've definitely learned to appreciate some of the simpler things in life, things we take for granted, like just being able to walk long distances or being without pain. And whenever I get an ache or a pain, it means very little to me now, because I know that in my situation it's a temporary ache or a pain. And right now, kids with or anybody with dystonia doesn't really have, as of yet, their aches and pains aren't necessarily temporary. They will be one day when we find better treatments and a cure, but right now they're not necessarily temporary aches and pains. And that puts a lot of things into perspective for us.
That's absolutely correct, because what I know is my son had significant back involvement, had a lot of pain in his back, and my husband has a back problem. And my husband will say, "Oh, my back hurts today," and my son says, "Huh, your back hurts?" And it's a joke in our family that perhaps maybe others wouldn't understand, but it's a light moment for us. Thank you.
Thank you for helping the Dystonia Medical Research Foundation and helping us to find a cure.